I'd like to call the Board of Works to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Alan, would you start us off?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dina, would you please call? Oh, Sonia, sorry. Just in a habit there. We just did that.
Okay. Mayor Lynch,
Here.
Commissioner Lack,
Here.
Commissioner Zilli,
Here.
Commissioner Ekdahl,
Here.
Commissioner Mott,
Here.
Troy.
We have the approval of the minutes of the January 26th and the March 13th meeting. Can we do those together?
I'll make a motion to approve both. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have the payment of claims.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Is there any discussion? Any questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have staff reports. Sandy, are you doing?
I can read what he sent in an email. If anybody has any questions, I can answer them.
Mm-hmm.
This is me. So AJ won't be here today. He did send you all an email with status. Market Greenway Trail, work continues. Gary Up, the contractor, is currently installing handrails at the creek crossing and at the switchback, and they are performing some restoration work. It looks as if Rethry will be back on site late April to put down the surface on the trail. And as for Central Avenue West, Phase 1, we've just received a word from NIPSCO that their gas and their electric work has switched. We were anticipating gas to get out there first and then electric to follow with their pole relocations, but it sounds like gas has been delayed on other projects. So electric will get out there first. You'll see our contractor out there moving some dirt so that the new poles will have a new place to go. And then NIPSCO gas will be out. So our contractor's adjusting their schedule. We haven't seen it yet, but we'll share it once we hear anything more.
We'll have more for you. We have no amendments 1, 2, and 3 to the 2023 working budget.
Do you still have a staff report?
You want to do a staff? Yeah, go ahead.
Me? Yeah. Everybody, you I just have a couple items on the real estate. On the real estate side, the Founders Square purchase agreement, we have the revised language, Attorney Witten put together, is in the hands of the buyer's attorney. We expect to have that back tomorrow from their signature, at which time, once we sign it, their due diligence period would start. So what I'd like is that we can get a motion from the board authorizing the mayor to sign that purchase agreement, tentative Mr. Witten's final review.
Motion to give authorization for the mayor to sign upon attorney review.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Any questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Other things we've been working on, we have started the lease negotiations for 6100, creating a needs and wants list on some issues over there. The mayor's commented on the signs. The signs are up on the property with the exception of the 126 North Acres, because there's really no place to put signs, you can't see it. And our drone video shot has been canceled twice because of weather. So as soon as we get that up, we'll get it back, at least get it on a public website that it is available. And that is all. We are getting calls on those signs already. We're just kind of feeding through them and see if there's anything that's real. So, any questions?
Any other questions for Bill? Thank you, Bill. Okay. We're back to 8.1, approval amendments 1, 2, and 3 to the 2023 working budget.
I will make a motion to approve amendments 1, 2, and 3 to the budget.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Are there any discussions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. We have the Ewing Farm Agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the license agreement with Ewing Farm.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the Ewing Farm Agreement. Is there any discussion? Questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have the RDC funding request for the fire, from the fire department. Chief Wilkening, did you want to come forward?
Good afternoon, everyone. There was just a conversation with AJ, and we had talked about the money that was appropriated from last year and this year, that we had built up a list, and that we would request, well, exactly how we were spending the money. So we made up our list and gave it to you. We are definitely appreciative of your guys' efforts to help us out, and this will help the fire department immensely. It's an array of equipment that'll help us out in all different areas of our operations.
Does this list, what's the total on this list? Is it the $75,000 or is it more than that?
Well, it was from last year and then this year, the carryover. So our estimated cost is right now is about 110. So it's not the full list, but we figured we'd do that. These are the essential stuff that we thought we needed right away, and find out final prices because they're changing every day. And then once we get that done, then we can see how much it was left and then go from there.
Do we have to approve anything since we already approved the budget for it?
I don't think so. I think we just wanted to see a list of where they were spending that. And this includes what was left over from last year and this year, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I just want to say it's pretty remarkable that the RDC's in a position where we can start making sure our departments can get back from the money that the RDC directs out of the general fund to help supplement that a bit. I think it's pretty remarkable that we're in this position. I don't think, I can't remember a time where the RDC's been able to do this.
We are definitely appreciative of it. I know ourselves and then also the police department. I've had conversation with Chief Candiano, and this definitely helps us a lot.
We're anxious to know if you got everything you needed then.
There's already stuff set up, so Assistant Chief DeYoung is ready just to hit the button. We're ready to go.
Good,
All
good.
right.
Thanks, Randy.
All right, thank you.
We have the approval of RDC funding request for the Park Department. Superintendent Lido.
I submitted my list also to AJ, so I don't know if you guys have any questions about the list.
Diane, what was the estimated dollar amount?
I actually put more on the list than the 75,000 because of what I learned from last year is that prices go up, and if I can't afford one thing, I'm gonna have to move things around, but if they're not on the list, I can't get them. So I put more things on the list and some smaller items to fill in those gaps, because based on what Lori's list last year, I couldn't get everything on that list, and so I had to switch things around, and it just made it complicated. So the top 3 items equal about 55,000 as of these invoices, but they probably have gone up since I got them. In fact, I know Hannah's Hope will go up because I found more equipment that is damaged.
I think that 75,000, and that's from, there's a carryover from last year, so is it?
I spent last year's.
Oh, okay.
You give me money, I'll spend it.
Good girl. So Diane, I know that we talked about the playground equipment and there were, did you speak to that young woman from the playground equipment that was installed over at South Haven?
Not yet, I haven't. This is just replacement from the same company that we bought, so I'm not adding anything to Hannah's Hope, I'm just replacing the worn out items. So it's just the things that are damaged, it's kind of an easy replacement, it's just use, and it's quite a lot for just, you can't even tell. You know, that's really, when you drive by, you can't even see the damage from like afar, but it costs that much, almost $17,000 just for a few items. Because it's that specialty equipment, but.
Okay. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
We have the approval of holiday properties request for payment for salt application from February of 2022.
I think there's some
Yeah.
questions about it.
Sandy, did representative ever get back responding to the amount of salt?
What they have on there is what they showed. I did speak to somebody today, they were gonna try to get here or send another representative, but I do not see anybody from Holiday here.
So their letter, which is dated February 9th, 2023, says they expect to receive payment by March 15th, 2022. That's the first kind of head scratcher.
Well, my question is, 7 tons of salt in 1 month seems, I'm not a salt spreader, but it seems like an exorbitant amount of salt.
And we invited them to come here today, correct? I mean, I think you have to table it till the next meeting, because there's questions. I'm confused. and I-
Yeah, I'll motion to table this.
Second?
We have motion and a second to table item 8.5 from the agenda. Is there any further questions?
So I'm still not clear on, the invoice shows February bulk salt application. Are we for sure that this was 1 month of salt application?
That is what they're saying.
I mean, I don't even think the city, what did you say, Greg, a city truck?
Each truck holds about 3.5 ton.
It's a lot of salt.
Well, Dan, do you have to contact them or Sonia to let them know we have questions on this and that they need to be present to respond to our questions?
Either way. I mean, you indicated that you reached out to them so they knew to come. You can again, or I can, it doesn't make any difference to me, whichever you prefer, but we need to get them here if they want, their money.
Well, I think the question is, we need to talk to them about the volume of salt used and these dates. I mean,
Just throwing this out there, if this was a February 2022 invoice, are they, like, do we have the actual invoice? Is it for just salt, or are they now saying you owe us late fees because we didn't get paid?
I believe it came before the commission last year, in 2022, and the amount was questioned then and was asked to be removed at that time.
Thank you for the reminder on that.
we have motion to table. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
8.6, approval of Founder Square event poster for 2023.
I'll make a motion to award this to Bowman Displays Digital Imaging, Inc. for a total of $375.90.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have 8.7, the Downtown Community Park Landscape Maintenance for 2023.
Our department would request that this line item be tabled until the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
We have motion and a second to table. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have 8.8, landscape maintenance for Founders Square.
For landscape maintenance of Founders Square, our department recommends that the project be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder of Lakeshore Landscaping for the total of $66,984.78.
I'll make a motion to award to Lakeshore Landscaping for $66,984.78.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have the landscape maintenance, 8.9, landscape maintenance for Garrison Center.
Our department would recommend that the commission award the project to Lakeshore Landscaping in the amount of $9,015.65.
I'll make a motion to award to Lakeshore Landscaping for $9,015.65.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have the landscape maintenance of Burns Parkway North Side Trail.
The department recommends that the commission award the project to Lakeshore Landscaping in the amount of $22,166.39.
I'll make a motion to award to Lakeshore Landscaping for $22,166.39.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We have the Phragmites Control at 6100 Southport Road.
The department recommends that the commission award this project to Allen's Lawn Care, for the amount of $3,900.
I'll make a motion to award to Allen's Lawn Care for $3,900.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have the award bid for mole application and procedure at 2500 Roy Buckley Way.
The department recommends that this project be awarded to Lakeshore Wildlife Control in the amount of $2,000.
I'll make a motion to award to Lake Shore Wildlife Control for $2,000.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Real quick, Sandy, we know these were significantly different?
They were significantly different, and the reason being is that Orkin provided like the gassing of the critters under the ground, and once we took that out of the proposal, we were looking at apples and apples where it's just a topical treatment, and that's why we chose Lakeshore.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
8.13, award landscape maintenance at City Hall.
The department would recommend that we table this line item.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
We have motion and second to table. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have the request for a special meeting for May 11th, 2023.
I will not be able to be there, but don't let that hold it up from scheduling. Unless 3 of you can't be here. I can be here.
I can be here. Sandy, do you want to tell us what that's about, or can we talk about that, Dan?
Sure, I apologize for that. We are holding a special meeting in order to open the bids to the redefined library garden project. So we're hoping to get that under completely designed, the project's out to bid, and hoping to open at this date so that you will be able to review it and award the project at the next normally scheduled meeting.
Are there any further questions?
Well, I'll make a motion to schedule a special meeting for May 11th at 4 p.m.? 4 p.m.
Second.
We have motion and second to schedule a special meeting for May 11th at 4 p.m. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Sandy. We have the approval of the Abbenmarsh Library Garden Contract.
This is an amendment, right, to the existing contract?
It is an amendment to the existing contract.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the amendment for the library garden contract. Is there any discussion?
Is that for 11,500, that one?
It looks like it's up to, right? Yeah, up to 11.5.
And then how does the contracts work if they're contracted to provide the service and then the bids came in above what they projected? Now they get paid to redesign it?
Well, we've changed the scope a bit on this one, so I think that's kind of answered itself. But, you know, we kind of changed the direction a little bit. So in this particular instance, we're asking to do a little different work.
But if the base contract's in and they have a budget to hit the design, that's where my question arises.
So are you asking that if we reject all bids because the they came in too high and we don't change the project and we ask them to rebid?
No, just trying to get an understanding how would the first contract work if, to do a design up to a base amount, it doesn't come in at that, and then we have to reconfigure the project, and they still get paid for.
Well, I mean, I think part of the reasoning, and Sandy, remind me on the timeline here, this was put together a year and a half ago?
At least.
I think a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And I think the costs then versus the cost that actually came in when it was bid out were probably, as we've seen on other things that were bid a year or two later, significantly higher than we were expecting them to be. I think City Hall is a good example of that.
There's also specialty items where you really can't put a number to it, and, you know, those come out to be surprising to you sometimes.
That's my only question.
Do we have a motion and a second? Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
8.16, approval Avonmarsh Irving Street Trail Contract.
Yeah, it's. I'll make a motion to approve the Irving Street Trail contract in the amount up to $21,500.
Second?
We have motion and second. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. We have the approval of ecological restoration contract with Stantec. Sandy, do you want to tell us what that is exactly?
I can certainly try. This isn't my realm of expertise.
This is part of the north side, we're part of the contract with the Army Corps of Engineers to do all their stuff. We're obligated to do ecological surveys, right?
Exactly. So up north, we have special plantings and everything where Army Corps of Engineers went in, they pulled out invasive species, and we're required for a couple of years to keep an eye on this, maintain it, and take care of it so that it flourishes. And this is the same company who performed the work in the past couple of years. I believe that they are formerly known as Cardno, and they've done this work in the past for us.
I will make a motion to approve the contract with, what are they called? Stantec for $28,500.
Second?
We have motion and a second. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have the contract, the 2022 annual report by Senator Dalton. Carl?
Thank you, Commission President, Mayor, members of the commission. The Indiana statute requires that annually the Redevelopment Commission produce a report kind of summarizing your staff, certain financial transactions, outstanding obligations, your debt, as well as a listing of all the parcels. We've also added in here the overlapping units report. That'll be the back half. I promise you I will not read through the whole report, but if you allow me a few minutes, I'll just summarize some of the key items in the report. So that was starting on page 2, just kind of lists the purpose of the report. Page 3 just shows the members of the Redevelopment Commission. Page 4 is just the compensation that are paid for the various Redevelopment Commission staff members. Page 5 then is our tax increment revenue for the year. For 2022, we received $7,702,111.66. And that helps with the budget that you have each year for the various projects as well as making debt payments. Beginning on pages 6 through 9, I believe, is the listing of all the debt that's outstanding during the year. The only new debt that was issued last year is on page 9. That was the redevelopment district, $4,130,000 tax increment refunding revenue bonds, series 2022. And the purpose of that was to refinance economic development revenue bonds of 2013. So that's the only new debt, and that's outstanding as of this coming April 1, $3,810,000 even. Page 10 then is a summary of the Commission's fund balances for 2022, showing the beginning cash balances, your revenues coming in, disbursements, and ending balance, and total of all funds related to the TIF as well as Redevelopment Commission funds, including bond funds, is $9,235,496.52. And then page 11 just summarizes the resolutions approved in 2022. And then page 12 then is the Commission's budget for 2023. I believe AJ previously has presented this to you. And this is really a quick summary of what the general fund is, component for the NERPC property, and then the allocation area is for the Southport allocation, where you're paying primarily your debt service, some equipment, professional services, as well as various other projects that you have going on in your allocation area. So the next part then is the overlapping units report, and this is page 14 kind of explains the purpose of it. There's really three purposes: the Commission's budget with respect to the allocated property tax proceeds, or your TIF, which we just did previously here, long-term plans for each of the allocation area, and the tax impact of the tax for each of the taxing units, that being the school, the township, the library, the county, as well as the city. So as you're aware, we have really one allocation area, and that's the Southport allocation area that was created back in, I believe, 1990, and I believe the sunset date for that is around like 2039 for final payments in 2040. And we have various bonds that we are paying back debt service for that were listed earlier in the report. The tax impact report begins with Exhibit A. I'm just going to quickly just explain the purpose of this. As many of you know, that we wouldn't have growth in our city, specifically in the Southport area, if it wasn't for the Redevelopment Commission creating this and all the work and the projects that are done. So it's kind of the but-for test. If it wasn't for this commission and the allocation area, you wouldn't have a lot of that growth. But needless to say, the statute requires that we at least put into a published report what is the tax impact as if the allocation area never existed with the numbers. So our captured increment for there is really two units. The second unit lies partially in Westchester Township. Excuse me, but for the Portage Township area, our captured assessment for 2022, page 23, is $310,105,762. And so if we just take out that increment, what's the impact on the tax rate? It potentially could go down 28 cents, but as I said before, you know, if it weren't for this area, you wouldn't have all this new growth that's into the city today. And so all we have to do is just publish this. The next page, Exhibit B, just shows the impact of the different cum rates. I'll have you note that several years ago, the State General Assembly changed the way schools are funded, and so their capital projects fund is no longer like a cumulative rate. It's no longer a fixed rate. It's part of the max levy. So they're, in theory, not really impacted by us any longer. And then the last section of the report is just a listing beginning on Exhibit E. The last number of pages show each of the parcels in the allocation area, what the net assessed value is, the base, and the incremental growth. We will summarize parts of this will get uploaded to the Department of Local Government Finance's Gateway website. The department likes to keep track of all the TIFs in the state of Indiana. So this parcel list will get uploaded along with certain other financial information. So I'm happy to answer any questions. If there are no questions, it'd be my recommendation that the commission give approval to the report.
Carl, I know you've been doing these reports for quite a few years for the RDC. In your opinion, are we in a good place with the RDC's cash balance and where we're at?
I believe we are. I think we're starting to see the balances are improving and the increment's good. We still have a lot of debt that we're paying. We still have a little bit of room if certain projects do come up, but we're in a much better place than where we were several years ago.
I'll make a motion to approve the report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Carl, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I know that when the law changed, we're required to give the city council a report. Is this part of that, or is there a different component?
No, I
of it?
believe you could give this report to them. In fact, the next motion is going to be concerning next year's increment, the need to capture all the increment so we can continue paying debt service as well as the other projects. And that copy of that letter could also go to the council. But you could certainly forward this report to the council so they're aware of your budget, what the revenues are, what the debt is, and so forth. I think that's a great idea.
Good. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, Carl, I believe we have
So we have
the
a
resolution
yes.
to capture.
Yes, so this is something we do annually. The Department of Local Government Finance wants us to determine, is there any excess increment, assessed value that can be released to all the other overlapping units? And because of the amount of debt, the various projects you have in your plans, it is our recommendation that we have none to release, and that all this does is there'll be a letter that goes to the county auditor indicating for 2024, we will need all of our incremental value. So this is something, if you're in agreement with that, the commission should consider it. It wouldn't have to be done today, but it does need to be acted on before June 15th.
I'll make a motion to pass resolution.
Second.
Attorney Whitten, do we need to read the resolution into the record since we're,
Just pass it by title only. Read the title, Madam Chairman, please.
okay. The title says Resolution of the Portage Redevelopment Commission concerning the 2024 budget year determination for tax increment for the Portage Redevelopment Commission allocation areas. Let the record show that this has been read. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much.
That's a lot of numbers, Carl. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Carl.
much. Great job. Is there any other business to come before the commission?
I just have one thing, Madam Mayor, if I could. So, just to let the board know, at the mayor's suggestion, with respect to the Central Avenue project, Phase 1 and Phase 2, there were a lot of questions that we're fielding from some of the adjacent property owners. So the mayor thought it was a great idea, which in fact I think it is too, to have a town hall or an open house type meeting where we invite the adjacent property owners and anybody else who wants to come for that matter. I've spoken with Structure Point, our consultants who've done the land acquisition to come. They're going to bring their project manager. He's going to have some schematics, some drawings to show the homeowners, to make sure that they see the, what the finished product will look like, and also to answer any questions with respect to the time horizon on the construction. So we're just starting to coordinate that, but as it becomes more definite, I'll certainly reach out to the commission, let you guys know if you want to stop by.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, I think it's really important now that this project is going to kick off, and we're going to be doing the bridge this year. It's really important to let the people that live along that construction zone understand what's going to happen there. So I think it's imperative that we gather them, and if they have any questions, they can all hear from each other as well as us. So we don't have a date for that yet, right?
No, we're just now starting to coordinate that, and I think the Structure Point said they have lots of time available to give us. They just kind of want us to tell them what's a good time.
Okay. And we will probably have that meeting here in the council chambers. And we will probably plan to have it live streamed. So as soon as we get a date, we need to get that process set up too. Is there any other commission information, any other business to come before the commission? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.